Okay, welcome back today. Actually, 318. Yep, 318. Because I know how to do math. Quickly and efficiently. My hair is getting too tall. Talking about hair, I need to do this quickly so I can cut my hair. Because apparently, since it's near my birthday, and I have doctor's visits, we want to actually cut my hair. So that's nice. So, yeah. I want my hair cut so bad. So, what's there to say? Did I tell you guys how I actually gave my cat catnip? Well, the other night, my cat was very playful. So, I'm like, oh, okay. So I tried to get toys, but he really likes this one crinkle ball. And it's just crinkled. So he really likes this little crinkle ball. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm trying to find this little crinkle ball to throw at him, and he baps it away. I throw it at him, and he baps it away, and I throw at it, and that's how we play. And I couldn't find this crinkle ball, and I'm like, here's your mouse, and he's like, I don't like that mouse, I want crinkle ball. I'm like, fair, you don't like this mouse, I get it, you like the shiny mouse, but it got destroyed by a dog, one of our dogs, so let me try to find you crinkle ball. He's like, I only want crinkle ball. I'm like, I get it. So I go into the other room. My mom's laughing the whole time. And I'm like, I'm dying because allergies. Because cat stuff. I go into the other room and get his big bag of toys that we introduced him to, not all at once, to try to figure out what he likes. So, but his eyes get real big. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, is the toy really that playful? But I realize it's when I unzip the bag, his eyes got big. He smelled the catnip. And I'm like, oh. So inside of this big bag was a teeny little bag of catnip. So I took some and I just, the tiniest little bit, sprinkled it. Because I'm really tired at this point. It was very, very late. And I'm like, you're going to just get a little bit of catnip. So, you know, we're playful, but I can walk away soon, okay? And he's like, more catnip, that was nothing. And he couldn't find it because I put it like in his box and he didn't want it. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to put a little catnip on his toy because I heard people say put catnip on a particular toy to have them get engaged with it. So I put it on the mouse that he didn't like. We found a crinkle ball, by the way. We found another one. I assumed we had one, but there was one. So I put it on this cat mouse, but he got so into it, he's holding it straight up to his nose, and he's sniffing it in, and he got just pure catnip up his nose, and he's now sneezing, and I'm like, cool. So I zipped up the catnip, he's like, more. I'm like, nope, no more. I zipped up the catnip, and I put it in one of the drawers here, to not put it with the cat toys anymore. So I hid it away, so I was scared he could smell it, but he hasn't yet. I went and I playing with him for a while, bending over, my feet were falling asleep. I wanted to take a shower and go to bed. Now I have allergies, and it was a lot. So I'm playing with him, but he gets so full of catnip, he's just seeing God, while his little toe bean hands are just holding this mouse. He's seeing God. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I kind of left him there because we played until he was played out, but he's just like, whoa. And I'm like, okay. So I left. I go upstairs, I sleep, get up the next day, and I explain why there's a bunch of cat toys on the floor and how he likes some, doesn't like some, blah blah. And I'm like telling this to my siblings. My sister goes, yeah, Mr. Kitty told me, like our cat told me this morning what happened. And I was like, oh, okay. So I thought it was a joke of either he woke her up in the middle of the night or my mom told her. And I'm like, oh. And so then she explained that, like, no, didn't wake her up more than normal. And I was like, okay, so I asked my mom because I thought, again, I didn't think anything of it. So later I'm like, oh, you told Elson. And my mom was like, nope. And I'm like, what? So I go back to my sister and I'm like, how did you know I gave him catnip? And she just like, oh, I don't know, environmental storytelling, like just kind of just read the room, like there's toys on the ground, and I'm just like, but how did you know about the catnip? There's no evidence that there's catnip. And she's like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm like, okay. So apparently the cat really did just tell her. Because there's no way of knowing besides his acting would have been a little weird. Because it was like 2 hours later when she woke up than when I was playing with him. Yeah, she gets up in the morning. I go to sleep in the morning. You know how it goes. So. Last night I was laying here and a little bug, because it wanted to zoom by my ear, kept going right into my ear. Very rude, by the way. Very rude. So, I was at a call. I accomplished things today. Okay, guys, I accomplished because I also called my pharmacy because I need my syringes to be full syringes. But I only got the little needle parts. So I was like, hey, well, they're not little. They're not tiny. They're huge. And I'm like, hey, help. And they're like, I gotcha. I'm like, help, please help. So they're like, yeah, you can pick it up tomorrow. So I did not get any medicine, but I'm probably going to take anti-anxiety medicine to try to sit still. So I need to see which medicine I want to take. So I can lay for up to an hour without moving while I have anxiety. So I need to do that. I also was thinking of throwing in laundry. I did stuff. I also played a little bit of video games, so that was fun. My sibling made me a cheeky cake, because my sibling can't eat milk or eggs, so usually it's one or the other, but also certain flours, so it's like, okay, so it was, she made a whole cake and she didn't want me to be part of it because it's my cake, and I'm like, okay. So she apparently also made, because creamy caramel is made with milk or coconut, I think, so can't have either of those either. But yeah, so I feel bad for all of us to have such restrictive allergies or intolerances, or testing intolerances, I guess, also too. So many things, but so we have to make it, and usually I help when it's for other people, but for us, it's kind of, usually me and my sister are the ones that actually do stuff for each other's birthdays, for all of other birthdays. So when it's one of our birthdays and the other can't help, it's kind of really all on that one person, and it's like a lot of work to make all the stuff. or to do a lot of stuff. So we I don't know. I just feel bad. They went to Target or someplace and got a bunch of stuff to get the special ingredients, special flour. But so yeah, the caramel can make caramel with dates, in warm or hot water, and then I guess blend them. I don't know. I wasn't there. Oh, I mean, I was here. She was over there. She was over there. But she's like, ooh, caramel. But it does taste like dates. It kind of, when I sniffed it, it reminded me of like caramel and apples. So kind of more fall, I guess. Dates and fall caramel kind of makes sense. But since caramel usually has stuff that my sibling can't eat, my sister had to go with dates. Blah blah blah. I think it's pretty good. I don't know what flavors she's going with. Maybe just chocolate and caramel. But yeah. My favorite season is fall. My sibling's favorite season, I think it would be summer. And then my sister's favorite would be winter. All of those line up with our favorite seasons. Birthdays and favorite seasons. Anyways. Yeah, every time I'm like, I wonder how I'm gonna do, like, upcoming event. Like, the New Year or Christmas or my sibling's birthday with this. And I'm like, you already did it. You're good. There's no take two of one day. There's 365 of these. There's no redo of the same day. There's no redo of this and Halloween. It's only the one. There's no redo of this and Christmas. There's only the one. I think that's kind of fun. Kind of terrifying. I have a very big thing of things ending. I don't like endings. I've been playing the same save file for Skyrim for 11 years, or 10 years or whatever, for 10 years, and I don't like endings. People end that one particular role of Skyrim and then restarts a new character. I guess I do it more character-wise, but I don't do that. I have my character, and I 100% it. They're everything. That's it. They're everything. I want to give them so much everything. The few things I'm really bad at, but they're everything. That's just how I do. They have every house. They have every Jarl, the whatever thing. They have every house. They have everything. They were a werewolf. They were a vampire. They were not a vampire anymore because I got rid of that. We're in the Thieves Guild. We're in this. We're in the, like, the only times I don't do everything is if it's like one or the other, which is the main. Are you pro the Imperials or are you part of the Reliance or whatever? And it's like, if it's not one or the other, it's all of them. It's all. So that's just how I play. Because I rebought it and for my computer, but I in a weird way choosing to make a new character feels like I'm abandoning my previous one, and I'm like, don't like endings. I don't like things ending. I played all of Portal 2 up until, 8 chapters, until chapter 8, and I said chapter 8 something like I knew this was somehow it was like the final chapter kind of thing, and I went up and it was all like right before spoilers, defeating spoilers, doing spoilers, and I saved there and I didn't play for months, maybe a year. Like don't do it. In my 100% Skyrim, I am leveling up smithing, I'm leveling up all the things that I didn't have previously leveled up. Which is really funny to me because I was doing all this in like baseline armor. I'm up like 50, and I just like never upgraded things myself. I never enchant things. I don't really know how. I just don't. So a lot of these things I just don't. Magic I just don't. I don't really know how to use scrolls because the thing is I used to. I just going back. I never did it. I'm just like ha axe. Now it's like haha dual-handed weapons. So shields, bows, magic is just the lowest. Magic is lowest. Shields is the lowest. Then magic, then bows, and it's just like I just don't. I never did, and I don't know if I cannot technically 100% all my skills because I think there is a limit of how much you can just. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I do it, and I don't do any of the main quests because I was pretty. I think it's like one of the main quests things. I think there was like a handful of quests, and I was, I think, around halfway or something through them, and I'm just like, oh, that's the main quest. I unticked it, and I just haven't reticked it, so I can never be drawn to it because I don't want to end it. I don't want the main story to be over. Like that's, and people are like, well, you can just continue on, or it will reboot you to right before it. Like I know in Breath of the Wild, it isn't defeated. It just reboots you to right before you defeated it, right before you defeated Ganon, and I don't want that. I don't want a retcon finish. If I finish it, I kind of wish I could finish it and kind of be like, walk away from the main story. Like I went back in Breath of the Wild and I started taking pictures of like the things, and I went and made sure I did all the memories, and then I redefeated. Did I redefeat Ganon? I don't think so. Maybe I just looked that up. No, because I already had all the memories. Because I did the same thing where I did every other thing to completion. I did everything else to completion, and then I defeated Ganon. And then I'm like, I could go back and take photos of all the animals or whatever. And I never did because I tried for like twice. But it's just like, it's not what I wanted. And I 100% everything else in the game. And didn't really feel like needing to do anything more. So in Skyrim, I'm scared I'm going to defeat the main quest, and it's going to boot me, and it's going to feel wrong. I don't know. Endings are hard. Whenever I feel like, oh, I'm so close to finishing it, I just don't like doing it. And then also letting go. So like letting go of Unus Annus a year ago, around this time a year ago, I started to panic. I'm like, it's going to be gone, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I know life goes on, but it was hard, you know. Like I don't know why it was panic in me. So it was because it was forced letting go instead of just me naturally letting it go. It was like, no, it's gone. And I think that was like I couldn't, I don't know. Yeah.